Έρχεται επισιτιστική κρίση, το ξέρετε αυτό. Έχει βγάλει ωραία ανακοίνωση ότι έρχεται πείνα στον κόσμο. Πραγματική πείνα. Όταν μεγάλα ονόματα, πάμπλουτοι άνθρωποι, αγοράζουν τεράστιες εκτάσεις για να καλλιεργήσουν τροφή, κάτι έρχεται. Και η πολιτική σημαίνει
προβλήμα. Ποιοι είναι αυτοί που αγοράζουν εκτάσεις?
Ο Bill Gates, ο Buffett αγόρασαν εκτάσεις. 260.000.
Ο Gates αγόρασε χωράφι να βάλει 260.000 το καλοκαίρι να τρώει δηλαδή.
Καλή όρεξη, κύριε Κοταρίδη. Πέρασε το καλοκαίρι. 260.000 στρέμματα αγόρασε ο Bill Gates. Να. Έτσι, δεν τα λέω εγώ, ψάξτε το λίγο. New York Times. Να. Δεν τα αγοράσει τυχαία ο άνθρωπος. Σου λέει ότι κάτι ετοιμάζεται. Η επισιτιστική κρίση ανακοινώθηκε από τον ΟΗΕ, αφού επικαλείται τον Παγκόσμιο Οργανισμό Υγείας, κύριε Κοταρίδη. Σας λέω ΟΗΕ με επίσημη ανακοίνωση. Γιατί, θα σου πω εγώ, λόγω και του κοροναϊού, λόγω της έλλειψης καλλιέργειας, λόγω του υπερπληθυσμού της γης, δεν μπορούμε να ταΐσουμε τους ανθρώπους. Το ίδιο συμβαίνει και στην Ελλάδα.
Ότι ο Bill Gates είναι ο ιδιοκτήτης 500.000 μετοχών της Monsanto. Έχει ακόμη αναφέρει πολλές φορές ότι τα αγροχημικά είναι η απάντηση στην παγκόσμια πείνα. Και ωστόσο είναι ο μέτοχος μιας από τις εταιρείες που εφαρμόζουν την γενετική μηχανική και τις γενετικά τροποποιημένες τροφές, ενώ μονοπολούν τα τρόφιμα παγκοσμίως. Δεν είναι όμως μόνο αυτό, αλλά πρέπει επίσης να αναφερθεί ότι ο Bill Gates κατέχει επίσης 11 εκατομμύρια μετοχές στη Walmart, μία από τις μεγαλύτερες αλυσίδες σούπερ μάρκετ με περισσότερα κέρδη από τότε που ξεκίνησε η ψευδή πανδημία.
Τι θέλει να κάνει, δεν έχω καταλάβει τώρα, με έχετε μπερδέψει.
Θα καλλιεργήσει τεράστιες εκτάσεις, παιδιά. Ακούστε το πρόβλημα.
Και θέλει να κρατήσει την τροφή για πάντα.
Όχι, ρε παιδιά. Κέρδος ζητάει ο άνθρωπος. Όταν κέρδος θέλει να βγάλει. Όσο πετρέλαιο και να έχεις, αγαπητέ κύριε Πιταρά μου, όσα χρήματα και να έχεις, αν δεν έχεις τροφή δεν επιβιώνεις. Αυτό είπε ο Γκέτς και έκανε και δήλωση.
Ωραία, άρα λοιπόν,
η Ελλάδα πρέπει να μπει στο πρωτογενή τομέα από χθες. Πρέπει να κάνουμε ένα σχέδιο, το είπα χθες στη Βουλή. Δεν βλέπετε Βουλή εσείς? Χθες είπα στους προέδρους των κομμάτων να μιλήσουμε σοβαρά όλοι οι πρόεδροι, να σχεδιάσουμε ένα πρόγραμμα ανάκαμψης πρωτογενούς τομέα, ώστε να είμαστε έτοιμοι για αυτό που έρχεται. Έτσι σημαίνει ότι αύριο το πρωί, αν έχουμε μια κρίση 90% στις αγωγές, ή πείτε ξαφνικά τρελαίνετε τον κόσμο τον κοροναϊό και κλείνουν όλα τα σύνορα. Κλείνουν όλα και δεν μεταφέρεται κανένα εμπόρευμα. Δεν θα φάμε ούτε κρέας ούτε γάλα, γιατί είναι εισαγόμενα όλα αυτά. Πρέπει να κάνουμε άμυνες. Εγώ κρύο κόδωνα κινδύνου.
So what are you going to do? If your social engineering efforts, your persistent nudging, your appeals to climate change and saving the earth, your demands that we think about the animals and the suffering that we've caused them, none of it's working. We just can't socially engineer our way out of the situation. So we're going to have to raise the stakes. We're going to have an event. Something actually that we've seen all of the predictive programming for already. Right? Into that narrative, because this is the goal, the takeover of the food supply. And so I've asked the question, and there's really no way to boil it down. I'm just going to take you through this. I've asked the question, all right, it's not working. Gen Z even doesn't want the fake meat. Are we about to witness this food false flag? Some zoonotic disease, right? We've got Fauci talking about biodiversity and zoonoses. We've got tons of the predictive programming. Experienced a ransomware attack which shut down their systems. Now, before we go any further, Who's Americold? What are we talking about here? Americold is the world's largest cold food and frozen food logistics company. They own and operate the bulk of frozen food storage and transportation in the world. Let's hear a little bit from their CEO about who they are and what they do.
With over 1 billion cubic feet of storage, Americold is the global leader in temperature-controlled warehousing, transportation, and logistics for the food industry.
Over 94% of all product that you see in your grocery store in the frozen food section comes through a third party. We're the largest in that space. We operate in every single tenet of the supply chain, from point of harvest to point on shelf.
Now, you can manage your supply chain better than ever with Americold's updated i3PL platform. Americold's i3PL Supply Chain Visibility Tool is an industry-leading application that provides you with a complete picture of your inventory across our network. i3PL features visibility throughout 150-plus facilities.
Okay, so you heard the CEO of Americold say 94% of all frozen food in the supermarket comes through a third-party logistics company like Americold. So you may have lots of producers growing food, and we certainly have lots of consumers eating it, but it all goes through this central point of failure. 94% of the frozen food in the supermarket goes through third-party logistics. And if that were taken out, then we all know supermarkets only have about 3 days of food. This is the Achilles heel of our food system. Now, in the wake of this cyber attack, I certainly would have expected to see lots of media coverage about this. Not only is it a significant thing, and as we can see here, drivers, truckers, were coming up to get their deliveries. I'm at Americold, their systems are down, they can't even assign me a door. Without their computers, they have these massive frozen warehouses, but no one knows what's there, no one knows what's coming in, no one knows what's going out. You can't run a huge operation at scale like that without systems. I would have expected to see some media coverage about this, particularly given that everyone is talking about it right now. The FBI wants you to be thinking about cybercrime. Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum are talking about cybercrime and how we have to get ready. So certainly this would be something that would be amplified. Look at this threat we have here. Nothing. There was nothing except for a few security trade magazines that acknowledged that Americold was down for days, unable to do any food deliveries during this time when their systems were down. Here's another report. The company email is still down. I can't even work today because there's no food deliveries. I can only speculate as to why the media didn't touch this story. But it certainly seems to me that this is a practice run. That this was a first attack on Americold to see just how effective it would be to shut down their systems. And it was extremely effective. As we just saw, drivers couldn't even make any deliveries. Now, what happens when you run out of soybeans? Of course, we all know soybean meal is the #1 animal feed in the world. If you cannot feed your animals, then you proceed to kill them off, which means there will immediately be a glut of meat hitting the market at really low prices as ranchers and producers around the world are killing off their animals because they can't afford to feed them. The price of animal feed will skyrocket, and people will start selling or killing off their animals. Then after that, there will be no animals. Okay, so this is what we're setting up to see, and of course, this is the end of animal agriculture that Bill Gates and the head of Impossible Foods and the Great Food Transformation and the Rockefeller Foundation all describe. We're entering right now with vertigo as we approach the 2030 goals, the end of animal agriculture. You can also expect to see more barns and farms burning down as producers desperately try and get the insurance money back rather than just lose everything as feed prices go through the roof. We're witnessing it happening right now as we run out of soybeans globally. In other words, something has to give right now. Something has to change. You don't expect Sonny Perdue to get up and say, "Shucks, we really screwed the pooch on this one, guys." No, some crisis will be manufactured in order to give cover fire to this, and of course, in order to create the opportunity for them to seize upon that crisis and push ahead with their agendas. With the Great Food Transformation, with the Reset the Table, with the Great Reset, all of these will be furthered by the crisis that will be created because of this global soybean shortage. In fact, we already see ADM, the world's largest producer of animal feed, beginning construction on what will be the world's largest insect protein factory in order to keep feeding animals going forward. But this isn't here yet. It's not here yet. We already see Singapore approving lab-grown meat, fake, nasty, synthetic, disgusting lab-grown meat, fake chicken. And Israel, in fact, just opened up the first lab-grown meat restaurant. Ironically, it's called The Chicken. There's no chicken in it, and you don't even have to pay to eat it right now because it's so disgusting. Diners are not required to pay for their meals. We just want you get people acclimated to it. Ladies and gentlemen, today I will submit to you that agenda is this food false flag that I've been warning about, this looming event that will decimate the food supply for one, but will also give credence to these calls to end animal agriculture, which is their stated goal. Just in case you're looking for means, motive, and opportunity to commit a crime like this, all are present today, and let's break that down.
What you eat may soon be less safe than you think, thanks to a change in rules for pork inspection, now set to roll out nationwide under the Trump administration.
When you open your package of meat, what you're going to get for a pathogen is going to be a mystery.
What are pathogens?
Those are the things that make you sick, like E. coli and salmonella.
And under this pilot program, those things could potentially enter into our food.
Correct.
Super pigs have arrived. Now, the vector has appeared on the scene. Means, motive, opportunity, it's all here. We are witnessing a major food false flag transpire right now. Now that we have these super pigs coming on stage, and I do mean it is a performance, this is a script. From Fox, rising populations of wild hogs are worrying experts. Many are deeming these things super pigs. That is because the wild boars have mated with domestic farm animals that have been bred to be in heat at all times and have tons of babies, have huge litter sizes. So we have wild hogs that are very survivable, very rugged, combining with huge litter sizes, and that's why all of a sudden there's millions and millions of super pigs. And apparently, as I mentioned, they also carry an absurd number of diseases. So you could not engineer a better vector for this new attack on our food system than these super pigs. And more to the point, again, here's where I say, the pigs act as disease carriers. They host more than 30 viral and bacterial diseases, including coronavirus, the cold virus, not COVID-19, as well as scores of parasites. So these walking, survivable, highly breeding, disease petri dishes are walking around everywhere. They are doing damage to crops, but that's the least of our concerns, according to the media right now. And again, look at Newsweek's language. Everyone needs to worry about this. What are they broadcasting here? What are they setting the stage? They're telling you, they're telegraphing that we are in the midst of a major false flag operation, an attack on our meat supply that achieves all of the agendas we've talked about, the end of animal agriculture, the appeal to shutting down farms to restore biodiversity, because even as Fauci is now talking about, and the UN has talked about for decades now, this is why we're getting pandemics. It's because of farms and ranches. And just look at the coverage. Media outlet after media outlet. Here's the Daily Star in the UK. Like I said, international media, even abroad, talking about how the US is now having this ticking time bomb, a feral swine bomb. Do you see it in the language here? The headline language itself even says there's a ticking time bomb. Everyone needs to be worried. It's out of control. They're super pigs. They're carrying diseases. It's very clear that this has been contrived in order to deliver on this food false flag. All right, so where does this go from here? Well, we'll have to watch it play out, but we should at least consider the fact that African swine fever has just been revealed, if you believe it. I don't even care if you believe this is a real virus or not. Let's set that aside if this is just more of the, fake tests, and now we're going to shut down agriculture, because that's exactly what Germany did. Completely unlike China, which they had to cull half of their pigs over there, but they never shut down crop production. Why would you do that? That's ridiculous. As I covered in a previous report, the fact that that Germany has decided to put a ban on agriculture and forestry, and it's no longer just a harvest ban. This now extends, now that they found 3 more dead pigs, they've now extended this to even a sowing ban. So the 182 farms that are within these 33,000 hectares of farmland in Germany are done. They're done. You cannot plant seeds. You cannot harvest your crops. As I mentioned, these fully mature cornfields provide both food and shelter to the pigs. So this is the opposite of how you would actually handle a legitimate outbreak. This is an irrational response unless you view it in light of the agenda to shut down the food supply and take total control. So Germany has now set the precedent. We're going to shut down farms wherever we find a dead pig. We expect it to spread. That means that they have contrived, they have devised this handbrake with which they can throttle down agricultural production. What better way, if you are looking through the eyes of the controllers, to work with this? Because if you just completely shut down food, then everything goes crazy. We lose order. No one has control anymore. It goes Mad Max, and nobody wants that. The technocrats want control, but they also want you to see the food system failing, right? So that they can walk you through the problem, reaction, fake food solution. Problem, reaction, famine is where we are now. They're shutting down the food supply, but it's a controlled demolition. And this throttle allows them to very precisely control the area, the number of acres of farmland that they shut down. They just throw a dead pig over there, shut down those farms, keep these running until next season. It's quite clever what's going on here. Regulation exercise that was carried out a year ago to the day, September 23rd of 2019, 14 states got together and pretended that African swine fever got here. And what are we going to do? Well, we're going to shut down the farms. We're going to kill off all the pigs. We're going to turn off meat production. They're going to accelerate the demise of United States food production.
Hi, good morning. And just to be clear, this is the biggest change we've seen in the way that our food is inspected in more than 50 years. And it all starts this month.
The consumers being duped that believe that it actually is getting federally inspected when there's no one there to even watch or do anything about anything.
Both inspectors work at a pork plant in the Midwest, one of the first to adopt the pilot program. They say the changes have been dramatic.
There's not enough time to react to situations that arise. You got 2.6 seconds per carcass.
To inspect the entire hog.
Yes, you can't really see very much in that time. So there's a lot of contamination heading out the door. As long as they feel like they can get away with it, they will.
Please keep your eye on this narrative. Watch for the trigger to be pulled, for this food false flag to be executed in the near future, so that they can deliver on the agendas, the motives that they've put forward openly.
Bill Gates believes the wealthiest countries should switch to eating 100% synthetic beef in order to help combat climate change. Speaking to the MIT Technology Review magazine, he said that some governments would be constrained by their wealth. I don't think the poorest 80 countries will be eating synthetic beef. I do think all rich countries should move to 100% synthetic beef. You can get used to the taste difference, and the claim is they're going to make it taste even better over time, added Mr. Gates. He noted one company, Memphis Meats, which actually makes synthetic meat at a cellular level to address this issue, but he said I don't think that technique of manufacturing synthetic beef will ever be economical. However, he added, companies such as Impossible and Beyond have a roadmap, a quality roadmap and a cost roadmap, that makes them totally competitive. While these companies represent less than 1% of the world's meat supply, they're on their way, he added, saying he could actually see a path to addressing the issue.
Although the artificial meat companies I put money into, I'm going to make more from those than I lost in the other ones. And so the poor farmers in the equatorial regions will have more failed crops. You'll also have more storms, you have sea level rise. And so that's where the foundation is trying to create seeds that can deal with drought, that are more productive for the good years, so you have buffer stock. So we're doing a lot of adaptation work. A lot of it's the work we would do anyway, of improving nutrition, improving agricultural output.
Ένα σημαντικό κομμάτι των εκπομπών προέρχεται από την αγροτική παραγωγή. Εκεί ίσως η επίτευξη των στόχων μηδενικών εκπομπών να είναι και η πιο δύσκολη. Διότι συνδέεται άμεσα και με τις ίδιες τις διατροφικές μας συνήθειες. Κατανάλωση κρέατος, παραδείγματος χάρη, συμμετέχει σημαντικότατα στις παγκόσμιες εκπομπές αερίων του θερμοκηπίου, ιδίως ως προς την έκκληση μεθανίου. Εκεί θα χρειαστεί να κάνουμε και σημαντικές αλλαγές στον τρόπο με τον οποίο εμείς οι ίδιοι φερόμαστε, καταναλώνουμε και τελικά επηρεάζουμε τη διατροφική αλυσίδα.
Κοιτάξτε τι μας φέρνει η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση. Το συζήταγα λίγο με την Εφέλη. Εγκρίθηκε, παιδιά, από την Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση, μας έδωσε το OK. Μπορούμε ελεύθερα πλέον να φάμε ζουζούνια. Σκουλίκια, προκειμένου. Να τη δούμε την είδηση. Ναι.
Ονομάζονται αλευροσκούλικα οι mealworms και σύμφωνα με σχετικές μελέτες αποτελούν πλούσια πηγή ζωικής πρωτεΐνης. Συνήθως χρησιμοποιούνται σε ζωοτροφές, αλλά σύντομα θα μπορούν να διατίθενται και για κατανάλωση από ανθρώπους. Η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση μετά από μακρά και ενδελεχή διαδικασία έδωσε πράσινο φως για τη χρήση τους ως νέα τροφή. Τώρα για τους εκτροφείς εντόμων η επόμενη πρόκληση είναι να αναπτύξουν προϊόντα κατάλληλα για τον καταναλωτή. Για παράδειγμα, τους επόμενους μήνες περιμένουμε την κυκλοφορία προϊόντων που θα χρησιμοποιούν σκόνη εντόμων και σίγουρα θα δούμε μπάρες ενέργειας, μπισκότα εντόμων, ζυμαρικά, ίσως και μπριζόλες από έντομα. Η Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση ενέκρινε την αίτηση εταιρείας τροφίμων που ζήτησε άδεια για να χρησιμοποιήσει τη σκόνη αποξηραμένων mealworms ως συστατικό στα προϊόντα της. Μετά την έγκριση από τα κράτη-μέλη θα ακολουθήσει έκδοση σχετικού ευρωπαϊκού κανονισμού.
Αυτό μπορεί να γίνει πραγματικότητα πιο σύντομα από ό,τι φανταζόμαστε, αφού η Υπηρεσία Ασφάλειας Τροφίμων αποφάσισε τον Ιανουάριο ότι η κατανάλωση του κίτρινου αλευροσκόλικα δεν είναι επικίνδυνη για τον άνθρωπο. Τα κίτρινα σκουλίκια μπορεί να βρεθούν στα ράφια των σούπερ μάρκετ μέσα στους επόμενους μήνες. Πώς όμως οι Ευρωπαίοι θα αλλάξουν τις διατροφικές τους συνήθειες? Νομίζω ότι πρέπει να κάνουμε πολύ καλό και όμορφο φαγητό που θα έχει ωραία γεύση. Πιστεύω ότι για τους πολίτες είναι πολύ σημαντικό όταν τρώνε ένα μπέργκερ με αλευροσκόλικα να είναι ένα καλό μπέργκερ. Υπάρχουν βέβαια και τα περιβαλλοντικά ωφέλη με την αντικατάσταση των παραδοσιακών βρώσιμων ζώων με έντομα, αφήνοντας έτσι ένα θετικό οικολογικό αποτύπωμα. Όταν είμαστε 9 δισεκατομμύρια άνθρωποι, δεν θα είναι δυνατόν να μπορούν όλοι να καταναλώσουν κρέας. Γι' αυτό και θα πρέπει να βρούμε εναλλακτικές πλούσιες σε πρωτεΐνη πηγές. Και αυτά μπορεί να είναι φυτά ή μπορεί να είναι και έντομα. Όμως οι αλευροσκόλικες δεν είναι τα μόνα έντομα που προορίζονται για κατανάλωση από τον άνθρωπο. Σε αυτή τη φάρμα εντόμων στο Βέλγιο εκτρέφονται και πολλά άλλα είδη εντόμων, από γρύλους και ακρίδες μέχρι και αλευροσκόλικες. Προς το παρόν προορίζονται για ζωοτροφή, όμως οι ιδιοκτήτες αυτής της φάρμας πιστεύουν ότι η αγορά θα ανοίξει όταν θα αρχίσουν να δίνονται οι εγκρίσεις. Πιστεύω ότι σε περίπου 2 χρόνια θα αναπτυχθεί και είναι πολύ σημαντικό ότι πλέον υπάρχει νομοθεσία, γιατί πριν δεν είχαμε νόμους. Οπότε μπορούμε να κάνουμε ένα ακόμη βήμα για να κάνουμε τα έντομα πιο δημοφιλή.
We can take another step to make insects popular.
And I am going to eat a 4-course meal of bugs.
These bugs? I first had them when I was first in country. Crickets. You start with crickets. Yeah. Crickets in a beer. And then you kind of, move up to tarantulas. Go ahead. How do you flip a scorpion? Good? Is that good, guys? Dinner.